Cool. So we'll just dive straight into it. We wanted to just do like a chill, I guess, discussion, recapping on the last 90 days. Arnas, who is the owner of a few different businesses, namely the Instagram page, Passionate Income, Insta Income Mastery, and has done many other side ventures as well, has been my first client for the last 90 days, where I've had the pleasure of working as CRO within his business. We're going to dive into what that's looked like, what changes we've made, how this even came about, and just go from there. So before we dive into any of that though, Arnas, give us a bit of a context and background on yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Arnas, 22 years old. Been traveling the world for like 4 years now, and working online. I started pretty early with many different business ventures, but the one that really hit was Instagram team pages. And it was like the business model which got me to like 50K a month. Really worked with big brands like Morning Brew, The Hustle, Public, Webull, and many others, many different like personal brands. Pretty, I guess, well known in the team page space, faceless page space on Instagram. And then, I kind of created a new way of doing Instagram pages, which is pairing the Instagram page with an email newsletter, because there used to be email newsletters as a separate business and team pages as a separate business. No one really before like connected both to have like a really stable, cash flowing, faceless business that, you decide when to make money on. So when I created that, a lot of people were asking like, yo, how the hell can you do that? And that's how I got like into coaching. People were just like begging me to coach them. Started coaching, and as an entrepreneur, like if you do something, you want to do it best. So I was like, okay, all these people are asking me how to do this, how to do that. And I had like a few clients. I was like, okay, let me really like work on this and help more people, because if I can help 5 people with one system, I can help 500 people with the same system if I create it once. So I really like embarked on a journey of locking in, creating really good systems, and getting incredible results for my clients.
Some of your clients have honestly knocked it out of the park, like millions of followers, multiple 5-figure months consistently. And I think what's crazy is you were so ahead of your time with this model, because you mentioned the IG, you mentioned the newsletter thing, but one other thing that you have incorporated into it is also AI, right? Using AI to make the content, to do the copy, to automate things. And now faceless Instagram theme pages selling AI created digital products, or like AI powered. I mean, it's like every info offer hopping guru out there is now hopping onto this one, which you've been doing for over half a decade at this point, which is crazy to be so early to the party on something like that. So when did you first start coaching? How long ago?
So I started my page, it was November 28, 2020. And I had like my first real like big client, like paid in full, ready to go, around November time of 2022.
Okay.
So I was doing the business, I'm still doing it, but I was doing the business model for 2 years first.
You walked the walk, basically.
Before I actually started coaching. And an interesting thing that happened is like, when I put everything, it was like scattered in my mind, like how I'm doing everything. When I put everything into systems, because I needed to kind of like explain it, actually my like faceless business went up, because I was like, everything's systemized, and I followed my own systems that I created. So
like learning by teaching almost.
Exactly. It worked pretty well, man. And that's when I got into it. So it's almost been 3 years that I've been coaching.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And then with that, I think, as you mentioned, it kind of started as something organic where people were coming to you, asking you for help. You started coaching a bit on the side. Then you were like, all right, let me make this easier. Let me just, film some modules or systemize it so that I don't have to manually say the same thing every time. But then at the start of this year, 2025, or maybe it was late last year, it seems like something kind of switched for you to where you were like, all right, like I'm going to take this coaching stuff more seriously now, because I think your other business was pretty much automated, like 90%. So what shifted?
Yes. So what really happened was like, let's see, now it's 2025. We're going into 2026 soon. So it was 2024 March, I remember. What I did, well, like my business was pretty much automated because I really started working on automating the business.
The theme page business.
Yeah, theme page business in 2023, like end of it. I started really working on like automating it fully.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need me. And obviously it took me some time to automate and build systems and, you know, coach the team on how to do certain things. And then March 2024, I was cash flowing like 10, 15, 20K a month, doing nothing, like literally nothing. And then a friend of mine invited me to Mexico, to Playa del Carmen, Cancun. He's like, come here. Like, he runs like, he's a manager at the hotel. He's like, I'll give you a good price. You can stay at my hotel. We can chill. You can live here. You can do whatever.
Sick.
And I just booked the one-way ticket. I went to Mexico. And for around a month, man, I was just chilling in Mexico, sipping coconuts on the beach, not doing anything, not like working on myself that much. I was just chilling. I was like, okay, I made it. You know?
Living what people would say is the dream, right?
Yeah. And then what happened is one of my first clients, Ivan, came to visit me in Mexico as well because he's from Costa Rica, so it was like a short fly away. And he came over and he's like, man, you should coach way more people. He's like, man, like your frameworks literally changed my life. Like I don't understand why you're not like going all in.
Yeah.
And that really got me thinking, but I didn't take action right away because I really wanted to like chill, like disappear. And I kind of disappeared for a month. And after a month, man, how many coconuts can you drink on a beach? Like it gets boring, especially when you're young, full of testosterone. Like you want to do great stuff.
Absolutely.
So after like a month, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to work. And then went back to work, still was kind of like all over the place, to be honest. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take on a few more clients and try to apply this new framework. I'll try to coach a bit differently. And that went insanely well. And then I'd say like August 2024, so like around a year ago, I told myself, okay, I'm gonna go all in on coaching. And obviously when you tell that to yourself, it takes like a month or 2 or 3 to really like start picking up. And then like end of last year, you know, I was like, okay, I'm really good at organic. The biggest challenge I had was like paid advertising. I didn't really like paid advertising. I didn't want to do paid advertising, but I was like, you know what, I'll do paid advertising, and started doing that like October time, 2024. Took a few months to pick up, but then December 2024, it's like, just went boom, like started hitting big months, and then got into 2025, like just scaling every single month, more. And man, served so many people. Like right now, as of today, we have 10 people who have more than 1 million followers on their faceless pages, and around 42 people, and it's changing every day, 42 people will have anywhere between 100,000 and 1 million followers.
Yeah.
So like we're absolutely crushing it, and obviously getting more clients than ever because of the results we provide.
Yeah.
So
which is one of the reasons I really wanted to work with someone like you in the space, who I could tell from when we first met had walked the walk. You firstly crushed the business model doing it yourself, and then on top of that, you organically had people wanting coaching from you. And then when you turned around to coach those people, like I think one thing a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of people who are really good at making money, who are really good at a particular type of business. But just because they've made money and they're good at that type of business, it does not make them good coaches or good teachers, right? It's a different skill set. Yeah. And so then for me, what really pulled me over the line to be like, all right, I know we could do some damage working together, is that you had that. Like you had so many case studies of people who implemented what you were doing, and then 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later, scaled pages, making money full time. You know, we were talking about Ivan today. He was at the Meta conference. He was having one of his reels looked at by Mark Zuckerberg. Like, it was crazy stuff. And so I guess ultimately then, like, let's talk about that a bit. So we met in, I think it was like January of this year, right?
January,
Which is crazy to think that's already 9 months ago. But we met at a dinner. We got to talking, and then walk me through, I guess, like around that time where we had dinner and you first sort of brought me on to help you out as a sales coach, not even to work on like the growth operations part of the business or actually come in and take over a larger portion of like responsibility, but just purely to sort of give you feedback and coach your calls. Like, what was going on in the business at that time?
Yeah, man. So we met in January. I was probably doing like 30, 40K a month from coaching, doing it all myself and just having one VA.
Yeah.
Like one VA helping me with a bunch of stuff, like some DM setting, just like managing my calendar, stuff like that. And that was cool. And then I started traveling a bit more. So after I met you, I went to like Brazil, I went to Spain, and then went to Mexico, and then came back here to Medellin, Colombia. And once I met you again, at that point I was doing 100K a month, still just me and one VA.
Yeah, but working like mad.
Yeah, working mad, like 12-hour days, closing myself, doing all the sales calls, all the marketing, all the YouTube videos, everything.
And the fulfillment.
Yeah, and the fulfillment on top of everything. So I never really like had a crazy like sales coach. I watched a few courses, read a few books, but then I met you and I knew like you were really good at sales and what you do, and you understood the sales process really well, and you sold on many different offers. So when we went to that dinner, I was like, we kind of talked, and you said you want to help people. I was like, okay, like, can you help me then? Because I never actually had someone like look at what I do. It was just working, but there's always something you can improve upon.
Yeah.
And
you had a pretty good close rate at that time before I even came into anything. You were at like 32% or something like that, 30%, which for someone who's never done like official sales training, you know, that's a above average closer on any team.
Yeah. And then obviously, you know, I just wanted you to consult me a little bit at first, and you did. And my close rate went to like 50%.
Yeah.
You know?
It was wild.
And I was like, whoa. And then I was like, yeah, I got sick, I remember, like really bad. And then the whole business stopped. You know, I got sick, I couldn't take sales calls. It was like, rather than making like 5 to 10K a day, I was making 0 for like a week.
Yeah.
And then I was asking you, like, how do I hire a sales guy? How do I like outsource this process? Because if I get sick, I don't want the whole business to stop. So you were like, you know what? Like, I have an idea.
Yeah. And that was a transition I was wanting to make for a little while there, which honestly, like, credit to you. You really helped me shatter some of those limiting beliefs that I had after having been a closer for so many years, and gave me that opportunity. But I remember I basically was like, all right, I'm gonna pitch him. So I put it out on the table, like the scope of work, where I felt like I could bring value to the business, and then we basically drew up the terms, we shook hands, and we dived straight into it. And so officially, since I came on board as like CRO of the company, it's been almost 90 days. Let's talk about, I guess, like, firstly, some of the things that we shifted, right? I remember at that time, let me know if I'm missing anything here, but I think like operationally from like a sales perspective, it was you, your DM setter, and it was just Google Sheets, right? Like,
just Google Sheets.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like 100K a month just in Google Sheets and one DM setter, right?
Yeah.
And it's fucking phenomenal. It shows people that like you don't need all the gear, you don't need to go crazy. But the thing is that like, and I know you said this to me explicitly, you were like, dude, like, I could not keep going like this for another 3, 6, 12 months. Like,
Oh no,
you hit
I
that
wasn't.
ceiling.
I wasn't gonna get it for one more month. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm about to quit this stuff. Like
Get
I
me
don't
on
care
sales
about
calls.
100K. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I totally understood it. And so, when I look back at the last 3 months, it's kind of been like three main chunks of work. The first was like getting the operations together. And so when I started working with you, I remember telling you like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, don't change anything. Keep feeding yourself income, revenue for the business, and let me go away and build everything out for you. And so at that point, we built out closed CRM. We took care of all the Zapier integrations. We took care of setting up Calendly and having round robin meeting schedules. That was really the first part. And then on top of that, like just getting the data, tracking everything, right? Because you knew roughly what your close rate was, but as far as like what was our like show rate, what was our AOV, what was our like all of these little things where we want to be able to understand where there might be problems in the business and we can point to the data. I think, what was it like for you once I built those trackers and created those documents? Like, how did you feel as the founder, as the CEO of this company, being able to look at like a dashboard or at spreadsheets and kind of have that clarity? What did that do for you?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a marketing background, so like in marketing, it's all numbers. Like you kind of reverse engineer how much money you want to make, and it's like, okay, let's say I want to make 100K, like the ticket price, the average order value. Okay, like I need 30 clients. Okay, 30 clients at this close rate. I need this many live calls showed. And for these many live calls showed, I need this many calls booked. And for these many calls booked, like I need this type of traffic. So it's kind of like, it was a relief because now I can finally like do the math and also like just clearly see the bottlenecks in the business. Because, when you're taking like 8 calls a day plus working on marketing, plus doing the delivery, you're not really thinking about like the nitty gritty details and the bottlenecks. It's just like flowing, you're making money, you're focused on cash in the bank, which to be fair was a good decision from my side because without the cash, I couldn't have hired you or the team or scaled. So I was kind of like going through that period, like put my head down. It was terrible, like 2-3 months, just terrible work that I didn't really enjoy, but I was like, I'll do it if it needs to be done.
Yeah.
And then when you built out all the trackers, I was like, oh, like I didn't even know this is happening in the business. I didn't even know this is happening in the business. Oh, we should work on this.
Yeah.
And then it gave me a lot of clarity on what I can actually work on, what we can actually improve, and what's like the biggest lever we can pull in the business.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that was kind of the first month, was getting the operations, the tech stack built out. Then we rolled into August, and that was when I went full recruitment mode. Yeah. So, we had our process that I created around using Typeform applications, putting those into all the various sales school communities and groups that I'm a part of. And then, I think by nature of the offer and then how we created that Typeform and positioned it, we got about 40 to 50 applications in about 2 weeks for each position, for closers and for setters. Probably interviewed, I would say like 10% of applicants, like really, really tight on that. And then we were able to recruit, we did 2 closers and we did 3 phone setters and basically onboarded them. And then with that, right, like I remember it was like every week our company-wide meeting was just like new face, meet the team, new face. And ultimately, like having that sales staff there, but then not having to run sales trainings or sales kickoffs or sales meetings, like what was that like for you as a founder, kind of seeing that team grow, but then having somebody who I guess was like able to manage those staff members and take you off your plate? Because I think the biggest shift that happened in the business for you personally, and correct me if I'm wrong, but by the end of August was when I got to give you that call and I was like, hey brother, I just took you off the round robins. You're done with sales calls.
Yeah, I was waiting for that moment for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, a big part of it, of getting you on board is like, I'm in the mastermind, and a lot of people, what they struggle with is actually like, okay, now I got the sales team, how do I manage them? You know, and you're taking care of that, which is like a huge part that comes with getting that sales talent on board and managing them correctly and training them correctly to keep them at the highest standard possible. So now that I don't even need to worry about that, I can actually worry about like what really matters, which is marketing and delivery.
Yeah.
Right. And realistically, after I sort out the marketing, you know, the delivery is kind of like outsourced more or less. We have really
you got a
good
couple
systems.
of coaches and you got the systems, so
We'll just work a little bit more on the systems.
Yeah.
Like we talked with my coach like a few minutes ago.
yeah.
Implement those, and then I can just literally focus all in on marketing.
Yeah.
And that's when your guy's gonna see me in like 2 years, and you'll find this interview, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's gonna be insane. I mean, like, dude, even in that short amount of time, I still remember I got you off sales calls. I had 2 closers who were hungry with empty calendars. You know, I mean, standard is like 40 call slots available a week, which is 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday. These closers, I mean, they were like putting in 6 days a piece. They wanted to go maybe 9 hours a day. So they were hungry. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of freaking out a little bit. I was like, Arnas, we need more leads, man. Like, we need to fill these calendars. And you're like, bro, chill, I got this. So from your side on the marketing, you now not having to worry about taking sales calls, not having to worry about recruitment or managing a sales team, what did that allow you to do in the marketing department?
Yeah, first of all, I joined the mastermind, which I didn't have the time to do so before.
Right, so more education as well.
More education, implementing better strategies of marketing, newer strategies of marketing, you know, doing something extraordinary that most people don't do, like with the resources, for example, that we do. That's only like the people at the top, they're doing that. Most people don't do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's like allowed me to tighten up the marketing to the point where you tell me, hey, we need leads. And I'm like, okay, in 2 days, we have all the leads you need. You know?
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. You know, and you went crazy, man. Like, I remember we were almost at the end of the month. I think we had 1 week left and we had like 328 opt-in leads. And then that was the same time where I basically gave you back all your time, got you off the sales calls. And by the end of that month, we finished at 1,500 leads. Like, it was wild, right? And now we're up at like 2,000 to 3,000 new opt-in leads every month. We ran a webinar. We booked like 105 sales calls, self-booked inbound, like off one webinar. So you, again, another reason why I was so excited to work with you as a client, something I would look for in any business, is they need to know their stuff when it comes to marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And you absolutely do. I think the biggest thing now in the 3rd month of working together has been kind of like tweaking the parts of the funnel where we're getting like the friction right. We're trying to book in calls, but make sure that we're not getting time wasters. I guess with that, I'd love your insight on like, what are some things that you've learned, not just from a marketing perspective and not just from me talking about a sales perspective, but about the way in which marketing and sales have to come together to get that whole funnel right.
Oh yeah, they do it because for the client, it's the same conversation. Like, they don't see it as like, okay, I was on the marketing side of the funnel and now I'm on the sales. It's like, for them, it's the same pipeline, you know? So there has to be congruency between the two. It's like the same messaging, the same type of, you know, tone and closing and value during the process. It definitely needs to come together. We had a little bit of that problem when we booked those 105 calls, but they weren't really aligned with the sales process. And then we couldn't really like make money out of those 105 calls. And then what we did another webinar and we booked like 31
calls, like a third of the calls.
Yeah, a third of the calls, and we made way more money from that, right?
Way more.
So that just proves like marketing and sales need to go together. And we just need to get the right people on the calendars with the right expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so with that, you know, I think one thing you really helped drive the point of, and I think this may have come as well from the mastermind that you were in, but it was between the two of us where we executed on this, was like, yes, we need to like market more, we need to get more people, but it's not about, like you say, it's not about the reminders. It's not about just blasting ad spend. A really, really big part of, especially the info space and especially like info product biz op today, is that people are so skeptical and people need the trust in the founder and they need the pre-education before they get on the call to actually know what the hell this is about, to sort of filter people in and out a little bit. I guess with that, you know, from your perspective, right, what do you think we've been able to do in the sales department and in the marketing department to, I guess, put ideas on the table and make those shifts? Because we went from like, you know, a 10% close rate at the start of the month for the first week to a week later, literally our close rate was back at like 30%.
Yeah.
And so I guess with that, like, what have been some takeaways from your perspective as the founder of the company? You know, because when you're in it, like you were saying, like when you're taking the sales calls, you can't really see too much. You're just like in the battlefield. But now that you kind of like got this perspective on everything, what have been your takeaways when you see the sales team in action that we manage, and then you see the changes that you make in marketing downstream as they come onto calls? Like what have been some big things, some things you realized maybe you got wrong, and some things that really took you to the next level after we joined forces?
Yeah, I feel like the marketing department needs to like hand down the lead to the sales department like very well, and the sales department needs to understand the marketing a little bit better, right? The days of, you know, someone booking a call on a VSL funnel or a webinar, jumping on a call and just buying and it's a straight piff, those days are long gone.
They're done, yeah.
There's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of trust issues in the industry itself. So that's why we need to address the skepticism like head on, right? So one of the biggest changes we made is we told our sales team is like, hey, if you see that the person hasn't gone through much of the marketing material and they don't know what this call is about, but they showed up, don't try to like educate them on the call. Like the call should be super simple. Like you go through discovery, why they want what they want, see if they're a good fit, and that's it. We shouldn't be educating them on calls to tell them what it is.
That's a classic. The beginner pack, right? So it's like if they hop onto a call, there's something that we told the guys, because they just want to go for the throat. They want to go for the sale, but it's like, no, maybe run the first part of the discovery, get them hooked in a little bit, then make it feel as though it's tailored to the prospect, where you say, you know what, we've got a few of these trainings based off what you told me. I think these would be super insightful. Allow them to get a bit more pre-educated and hop back on with them. Because if you just go for the throat, if you try rush things, it's not ultimately gonna go the way that we want it to pan out. So I guess like with where we're at now, you know, we're kind of at the end of our first 3 months. We've got some very big plans for the next 6 to 12 months, you know, in terms of where this company is headed. I'd love to hear from you. Like, what do you feel that your business is now capable of with the sales force and the sales operation systems that you now have in place, and what's the plan for the next 6 months?
You know, with the systems, like systems itself, we can do $500,000 a month with those systems we have. All we need is just more sales talent. So more setters, more closers, maybe more DM setters, and that's it. It's just like now on me to do the stuff on the marketing side we need to do to fill those calendars. And all we really need to go to $500,000 is like marketing and hiring the right sales talent. That's it. We have everything else figured out.
And that's the thing. I think we came to this point very recently where we looked at the funnel, we looked at the friction, we looked at the marketing, the sales, the way everything was operating, and we were like, no, like this is it. Like we don't need to do anything different. We don't need to create anything or change anything. We just need to do everything we're doing just 10x. Just the same, but more. And so I guess with that then, like, what would you say, you know, just to wrap this up a little bit more, like, what would you say have been some things that you've appreciated about, you know, us working together over the last 3 months, and I guess, from your perspective, how that's benefited you?
Yeah, man, the biggest change is definitely, getting off the sales calls and a lot of clarity on the business. And actually like having a company. Now I feel like if I get sick for a week, it won't be the same thing as when I got sick in June for a week. You know, the business doesn't stop. Now we've built like a company with the right systems, SOPs, frameworks, tracking, everything, CRM, client acquisition, client delivery. I mean, everything is on point.
How did it feel? I think there's a very big like key milestone moment. How did it feel for you the first time that you saw a deal close for your business where it wasn't you that closed the deal?
Man, it was insane. I was sitting over here, right here.
Yeah.
I was sitting right here doing my morning supplement stack, and just like I hear a notification, I look at my phone, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I wasn't on the call. I was preparing to get on a call in like 20 minutes, but I was like, where did this money come from? I never seen this name. This wasn't a lead I've talked to before. And I just like messaged you right away. I was like, was this you? And you're like, yep. Yep, that was me.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And so I guess like with that, maybe what were some things that, you know, because man, I think so many founders, you know, they're used to using marketing agencies or a video editor or a thumbnail designer, but like a lot of them are really scared to let go of the sales calls or the sales part. Like, what were some surprise moments or some realizations you had about just this entire process of like outsourcing your sales department?
I mean, I feel like you need to get to the point where I was to outsource the sales. I think a big problem that a lot of like these upcoming coaches do is like, oh, they got to 10K a month. I need a sales guy right now. It's like, no, you don't. You know, you can still take the sales calls. You can still do the sales process. Like, you'll close better than any closer, you know? So I feel like I needed to get to that point to be ready to let go, you know? If I feel like if someone's not ready to let go, the sales team, they haven't done enough sales themselves yet. Because I knew the whole process in and out. I knew the prospects. I knew like how they are, what their fears are, what their objections are before I was ready to outsource it. You know, if I would have outsourced like at the beginning of the year, I don't think we would have had the result we had. But yeah, definitely needed to let go. I mean, it was like yes or yes. I need to let go. Like,
absolutely.
Because I was just working so much, you know, and it just came naturally, man. It wasn't like a hard decision to make. I was like, yeah, this is the next step, like very clear next step.
And one thing I love about like coming on board with your business is that, and I've experienced this like with one other company that I worked with as well when I partnered with them in a similar way. Like when a founder has actually cut their teeth on sales calls and they've actually done that themselves, they're so much easier to work with because you understand the whole funnel, right? Like you've been on sales calls, you've had objections thrown at you, you've understood what that is like, what that feeling is like. When it's, you know, when it's these founders that all they've ever done is like media buying and they're just sitting behind the numbers, and it's like, it's kind of hard to communicate, I guess, these intricacies of like the sales world because it is very different. So I guess like, you know, to wrap it up, how would you kind of summarize the experience so far of like us working together, all the changes and the implementations we've made, and how do you think it's going to continue to benefit moving into the future? Because we've got a long road ahead of us.
A lot of changes. We essentially built the boat to row harder. You know, it's like we build the infrastructure needed to get to that 500K a month, to get to that $1 million a month. I feel like our systems, I mean, we can make a few tweaks, but with our systems, we can definitely get to 500K a month. And that's where we're going. That's where we're going. And it's just a relief to let go of the sales and be like, okay, this is now very clear, like a marketing problem. We'll fix the marketing problem. And we're going to be at that point. That's it.
100%, man. I think that's the biggest key, like you said, is data-driven decisions where you see the show rates dropped. Okay, now we know we just need to do things to fix the show rate. If we see average order value in terms of cash collected per closer has gone down, okay, now we know we can do a few things to fix AOV.
Yes,
if
sir.
we see that, like, you know, our opt-in lead to call booked percentage is very low, then we need to understand, like, okay, the setters, is there not enough speed to lead? Is there not enough opportunities for the lead to actually opt in to self-book a call? So having that data allows us to pinpoint that. And as you said, I think that's the biggest difference between companies doing the $500,000, $1.5 million even months, is that they make those data-driven decisions and they have the heads of departments looking after those branches. And, you know, the guys who are stuck at like 10, 20K, kind of these like solopreneurs who aren't yet building those teams, they're still trying to jam cash in the bank. But I mean, you got different priorities at different stages. They're doing the right thing, as you said, by just focusing on the cash. And I think the biggest thing that you did, which I probably would agree that you would encourage other people, I would encourage other people to do as well, is like do that, but bank the cash. And then when the time comes, like one thing I have to give you credit for, man, because I've worked with other founders that don't really have this trait, is that you are not scared to put cash into the business. You're not scared to reinvest. You're not scared to actually put your chips back into the middle of the table.
Yeah.
And I think there would have been a lot of people doing 70, 80K months at like crazy profit margins by themselves saying, man, I don't need to change anything.
Yeah.
I don't need to pay for this or bring this software in or hire this person. But, you know, there's people who just kind of stay there. And then there's people like yourself who put the chips back in the middle because 100K isn't enough. 250 isn't enough. 500 isn't enough. You want to keep going.
Yeah, the way I look at it is like, yes, I could have probably like tweaked some things and started doing 30-minute calls and improved a little bit and maybe stayed at like 80 to 100K myself, super high profit margins. But then really it's like, how fast do I want to go? Like I was talking to my mentor right now a few hours ago, and he was like, yeah, man, realistically, all you need is like 3-4 million in S&P 500 invested to not need to work and to start working from the side of abundance, you know? So it's like, how fast do you want to get to that 3-4 million cash invested in S&P 500? He's like, do you want to do it in 3-4 years from now and live on nothing? Or do you want to go hard and do it in like a year?
Yeah.
And then not worry about anything and then work from like abundance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for doing this interview. Thank you for bringing me into the business. I've enjoyed every minute of working there, and I'm excited to see what the next 6 to 12 months bring us.
Me too.
We'll try to get 3 and 4 mil in the S&P. Huh?
We'll get another video like that when we do that.
100%. Yeah, part 2 coming in Alicante.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
All right, man. Cool.